What's up YouTube, it's K.D.M Sports back again to share my opinion on why I think the Golden State Warriors may be done as title contenders for a while. As a longtime Warriors Nation fan, along with my father, it's sad. It's something that is expected. One thing is for sure in sports and life. Everything has an expiration date. The Warriors dominated the NBA scene for so long and built arguably the greatest dynasty. It all started with the 2019 finals. Klay Thompson, one of the top players of his generation and a perennial two-way star, a player that was a staple in the Warriors dynasty, one half of the iconic Splash Bros. Even in the 2022 championship run, it was apparent that the Warriors were no longer the same. Klay, in my opinion, wasn't the second best option during that run. It was Andrew Wiggins. Tearing an Achilles can be devastating. We've heard of many athletes not coming back from it, and in the cases they do, sadly they haven't been able to come back the same, which is what we've seen from Klay defensively and offensively. The Klay Thompson who was so good at playing his role that made him a solidified Hall of Famer is no longer. We get flashes of the player that once was, and he's still a good player, but he's just that. Time and injury can do a number on you, as we've seen throughout the history of sports. Draymond Green, the heart of the Warriors and modern-day enforcer, a former Defensive Player of the Year who night after night dominated on that end of the floor along with a high IQ. Although a player with many imperfections, it seems that throughout this season, Draymond has been extremely frustrated and has turned into a bad sport who cannot contain his emotions one bit on the court. This is nothing new, but I think it's becoming even more of a constant theme since the Warriors are no longer top dogs. A few years back, when the Warriors parted ways with Kevin Durant, the Warriors still seemed like they were going to continue to be in the title picture for a long time, as the Warriors had their core with Steph, Draymond, and Klay, along with new faces on the team looking to continue the successes of one of the greatest franchises. Jordan Poole, number 2 pick James Wiseman, high draft picks Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody. This setup of the new Warriors seemed promising, but Draymond Green seemed to not be too thrilled about this notion of them being old news. Although they got one more ring in 2022, everything started to fall apart with the Draymond punching Poole in the face during practice. The Warriors struggled last season and chemistry appeared to be a big theme for them, which in a lot of ways is ironic considering their famous saying, strength in numbers. Wiseman, who's injury prone, ended up getting traded for GP2 and some second round picks. Poole ended up getting shipped off as well for an old CP3. This season will likely not transpire into much success for Golden State, considering the age of their core stars, and while they still have young players like Moody and Kuminga, who knows what the future holds. In the NBA, there's been many great franchises that have gone through rough patches. Many of the greatest franchises, in fact, like the Lakers, many times during Kobe's career with them, and during the period after players like Magic, James Worthy, and Kareem. The San Antonio Spurs have been going through this phase as well ever since Kawhi left. The Boston Celtics come to mind too when they struggled for the better part of the 90s and early 2000s. Chicago Bulls too, after their great successes since the 90s, they haven't really been able to capture that glory they had during the Jordan and Pippen era. This is just sports, the natural progressions of time and eras. As I've mentioned before in this video, everything has an expiration date. This phase of Warriors history is another example of that saying. Regardless, the Warriors will always be remembered for what they were, a basketball team that was light years ahead of their competition and era, arguably the greatest dynasty in NBA history, and their accomplishments will forever be in the history books as one of the greatest franchises of American sports. Thank you guys for listening to me talk about more sporting content, and make sure to subscribe, like, share. If you've got any opinions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below.